warm welcome. I'm Priyanka Tibrewal and you're watching Viewpoint. The unfolding results of the Panchayat polls have underscored Trinamool's supremacy in rural Bengal, as it remains largely unchallenged. And when it is about the game of electoral politics, the opposition forces at the moment are far behind the ruling party. But ballot swallow, violence and assaults have marred counting and post-counting in Bengal Panchayat elections. And the failure to ascertain accountability by the ruling dispensation in the state has cast a huge shadow on the big lead in the vote share. A BJP fact-finding team, spearheaded by Ravi Shankar Prasad, has now arrived in West Bengal, and it is visiting areas that have been hit by the poll violence and attempting to also speak to the victims to assess the ground situation. The point is that despite several interventions by the Calcutta High Court, which directed the deployment of central forces at all the polling booths, the question still lurking is whether the West Bengal State Election Commission really failed on several accounts. Did the State Election Commission's decision to conduct a huge exercise of three-tier rural elections across 61,636 polling booths on a single day prove costly for the state, now nearly synonymous by poll-associated violence? And is the BJP-led fact-finding team an attempt to divert attention from the party's humiliating defeat in the Panchayat polls, and also a retaliatory measure to Mamata Banerjee sending her own fact-finding team to Manipur? And if it is only politicking that both the BJP and the TMC are really focused on, where goes the interest of the electorate?
অনেক এজেন্সি একটা জিনিস আপনারা লক্ষ্য করুন, আমরা কি অপরাধ করেছি? আমি অপরাধ করলে আমায় শাস্তি দিন, আমার কোনো যায় আসে না। আমি মামাটি মানুষের শাস্তি মেনে নিতে রাজি আছি। আমার যদি সত্যিই কোনো অপরাধ থাকে, যে অপরাধ মানুষ আমাকে দেবে আমি মাথা থেকে নেব।
মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায় নেতৃত্বাধীন সর্বভারতীয় তৃণমূল কংগ্রেসকে বিপুলভাবে সমর্থন জানিয়ে বিরোধীদের পরিকল্পিত সন্ত্রাস লক্ষ্যবিন্দু করে নিয়ে প্রাণহানি ঘটিয়েছে। তারা বুঝে গেছিল যে তারা ভয়ঙ্করভাবে হারবে।
कल काउंटिंग में भी हत्या हुई, काउंटिंग में भी पीटा गया है। कई बार लोग जीत गए, जीतने के बाद कहा गया कि तृणमूल में ज्वाइन करो, नहीं तो तुमको सर्टिफिकेट नहीं मिलेगा। ममता जी, यू हैव शेम्ड द डेमोक्रेसी।
इट इज नथिंग बट ए West Bengal state government sponsored violence. Goons belonging to the ruling party have been unleashing a reign of terror.
And we are now getting some breaking news that's coming out on Viewpoint. As BJP MP Ravi Shankar Prasad, who's leading that fact-finding team of the BJP, is currently speaking as he's met with the victims of the political violence in the state.
ये सुशीला मंडल है, इसका परिवार हमारी पार्टी का समर्थक है।
ये सुशीला मंडल इधर खड़ी।
यही है। इसकी बहू और इसके बेटे बूथ पर काम कर रहे थे पार्टी की तरफ से, और टीएमसी के लोग बूथ कैप्चर करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, उसका विरोध किया। घर पर आकर के पूरे घर को तोड़ा, उधर सामान छीटा, उनके बेटे को तलवार से हमला किया, उनकी बहू को पीटा, इनके बूढ़े पति बोल नहीं सकते हैं, उनकी पिटाई किया, ये दरवाजा भी तोड़ दिया। अब मैं আপনি এইখানে আসুন, আপনি এইখানে আসুন, আপনি এইখানে আসুন। अब आप देखिए, अरे ठीक है चलो, ये सुशीला मंडल है, मालूम है ना आपको? अति पिछड़े समाज से आती है। ये क्या हो रहा है ममता जी? ये क्या हो रहा है? एक गरीब की झोपड़ी में आपके लोग आकर के उठापटक करते हैं, तोड़ देते हैं, सामान फेंक देते हैं, इसके बेटे को कटारी से मारते हैं, और उसकी सुरक्षा के लिए पार्टी को उसके लिए बाहर व्यवस्था करनी पड़ती है। और बात करती है लोकतंत्र की। शर्म आनी चाहिए ममता जी आपको। बहुत हिम्मत दिखाया आप।
ये लोग कुछ मांग की आप लोगों के पास कुछ मांग किया?
बस न्याय की मांग कर रहे हैं, बस न्याय की मांग कर रहे हैं।
अभी भी बेटे क्या घर वापस आ सके हैं?
नहीं आ सके हैं, नहीं आ सके हैं। इसलिए इनको न्याय मिलना चाहिए। मैं उम्मीद करूंगा पुलिस सुरक्षा देगी, इनका बेटा इनकी बहू यहां आ सके। और ममता जी, मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं, एक गरीब सुशीला मंडल का बेटा और बहू अपने गांव के घर में आ सकते हैं कि नहीं आ सकते हैं? ये कौन सा लोकतंत्र है? अगर इसका एक कतरा भी किसी बीजेपी रूल स्टेट में हुआ होता तो तूफान खड़ा कर देते कांग्रेस पार्टी, राहुल गांधी, सीताराम येचुरी, सीपीआई, नीतीश कुमार, जो इतने लोग बने हुए हैं। और यहां एक गरीब के साथ ये बदसलूकी हुई है, ये बहुत दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। हम इसकी भर्त्सना करते हैं और हम अपील करेंगे इसके बेटे को सुरक्षा में इसके घर लाया जाए। ये अपने बेटे बहू के लिए तड़प रही है।
कब की घटना है और कौन लोग इसकी जिम्मेदार?
ये 8 तारीख को।
That was Ravi Shankar Prasad meeting with the victims of the violence, and he's also given his speech to the media. Let's see where does this go from here. But before we actually open this up for debate this evening, let me bring in Mr. O.P. Rawat, who's the former Chief Election Commissioner of India. He's joining me on the broadcast, and the attempt is to understand the protocol with the Election Commission when it is about polling in any state or in the country. Mr. Rawat, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. I first like to welcome you and understand, do you see something clearly amiss when it is about the role of the State Election Commission over what has happened in the state of West Bengal?
Actually, the local elections are always bitterly fought, not only in West Bengal, but most of the states, because the stakes are too high for the local populace, and the governance issues at the local level, they cause all these stresses and strains at the time of elections. But any violence is really unfortunate, whether it is elections or otherwise. There should be a strict protocol like Election Commission of India for legislative and parliament elections. They have a protocol that all sensitive, critical, hypersensitive booths will be identified. The policing arrangements with central paramilitary force will be deployed. Police observers will be deployed. All those arrangements are there, and they have published a manual also on these kind of issues. If those arrangements are in place, violence can be mitigated. Like in Bihar elections earlier, it used to be really very violent, but starting 2015, you see that there has been not a single case of violent incident there during legislative assembly election.
Mr. Rawat, I'd like to understand, while you say that, when you talk about the sensitive areas, the sensitive booths, even after the direction of the High Court, the Calcutta High Court, do you see that that entire protocol, that process was followed duly by the State Election Commission? Because what is being claimed is otherwise by the opposition in the state of West Bengal.
I will not enter into politics because elections have replaced wars and battles for deciding the successor to rule. So I won't go into that area. But because High Court directed at the time when we were in the thick of it, when campaigning was on. So at that time, when the building is burning, if you don't look for the water holes. That's the thing. So it has to be done well in advance, plan it, identify the critical, sensitive, hypersensitive booths, and deploy the forces which induce faith and confidence of all stakeholders in the arrangements. And that really prevents the violence.
Mr. Rawat, why I asked you that question is because even after the intervention of the court, there was a retaliatory plea that was put forth at the Calcutta High Court because the state government and the State Election Commission were not happy with the order of deployment of central forces in West Bengal. Do you think that also formed as a deterrent and that's why the violence could not really stop?
I won't be able to comment on that.
Okay.
But basically, the preparedness beforehand and deployment of forces according to that strategy with proper identification of all these sensitive and critical areas would have really prevented.
Okay.
But nothing much could have been done after you are in it.
Okay. All right. Mr. O.P. Rawat, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us on Viewpoint and giving your time on the broadcast. And on that note, let me open this debate further to my panel who's joining me this evening. Priyanka Tibrewal of the BJP, Chandan Ghosh Chaudhary of the Bengal Congress, and JP Majumdar of the TMC is with us on the broadcast. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast. Let me actually begin with JP Majumdar, since it's your government in the state of West Bengal. I'd like to first draw viewers' attention to the figure that's been quoted by the Chief Minister in the state. 19 deaths is what she's claiming as the official number of casualties that have come out as far as the pre- and post-poll violence, which are still continuing unabated in the state of West Bengal. But what will the TMC say about what else could have been done so that this could have been avoided or brought down to a bare minimum?
Now, first of all, we have to see that such local polls, towards Mr. O.P. Rawat said, that have got local stakes and at times get violent. And whoever died during this course of thing, we have regretted those incidents, and our Chief Minister has also expressed her regret about the whole thing. But the point is, while BJP was asking for blood, you see the Trinamool Congress for last 2 months, especially Abhishek Banerjee during her Padayatra across Bengal, always asked for peaceful election and peaceful nomination. And this time there is record nomination, unprecedented in any state of India. That 2,32,000 nominations were put, and no opposition party can say there was problem in nomination. And we have asked for a peaceful election as well. But the other political parties, they thought our asking peace is weakness of Trinamool Congress, and they started that we are without connectivity with the people, we will win the election with our muscle forces, money and muscle. And they have arranged. All these BJP leaders say that Arong Dholai Habe, meaning tremendous beating will take place. That is Shubhendu Adhikari. And Dilip Ghosh said that kacha baas kete rakhte habe. That means that you have to ready with sticks and bamboos. And Sukanta Majumdar said one step ahead that wherever central force will not be there, our cadres will act like central force with gun. Just imagine that instigating own cadres to have bomb and guns before the election starts. That kind of atmosphere were created by BJP, CPM and Congress. That is Rainbow Alliance they have
No,
made.
but I don't understand, Mr. Majumdar. How can you actually shirk your hands out of this entire violence? It is your state that we're talking about. We just played out a reaction by a member of the BJP delegation, the fact-finding team that is currently in West Bengal. You know, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad met with one of the families of the victim. And it was, in fact, put out there that the son and the daughter-in-law were not even allowed to get back home. The houses were ransacked. And what they are claiming is that this entire thing was done by the TMC goons. Those voices are on record. What would you say to those voices? These are locals from West Bengal.
These are all stage managed. And today's delegation is a farce on democracy. Yesterday the leader of opposition said that central BJP does not care about Bengal BJP. On record, Shubhendu Adhikari said. And that's why they have said a rejected leader like Ravi Shankar Prasad, who has been rejected leader by the central BJP. And he has been saying these things, and these local BJP people made a stage managed for the camera purpose, photo opportunity.
Okay.
And I want to say that this Shubhendu Adhikari, the leader of the opposition, in a lecture, election lecture, said that if you think you are not going to win, run away with the ballot boxes. On record, Shubhendu Adhikari, opposition leader, saying
but they are accusing you of ballot swallows. They are accusing you of ballot swallows.
That is what I am saying. That is what I am saying. that these are all acquisition by these people because out of sheer defeat. जो जीता वही सिकंदर हम लोग जीता है. We have won the election with people's vote. 99% booth.
We'll come back to the victory part, and I would like to understand, is the victory not coming with a huge shadow of the killings that the state has seen? But let me bring in Ms. Priyanka Tibrewal to respond to these allegations that you're making. Ms. Tibrewal, first of all, this fact-finding team that's led by Ravi Shankar Prasad, the allegation that the TMC is making is, of course, that this is an attempt to stay away from the horrendous defeat that you guys have seen in West Bengal, and also a retaliatory measure because Mamata Banerjee is sending her own fact-finding team to Manipur.
Hi, Garima. Very good evening. Well, firstly, Garima, defeat or win, that is not the issue of discussion here, because what we are facing now is a widespread violence all over Bengal. Although I expected more dignity and dignified comments from Mr. Majumdar as to who's a rejected leader and not, I leave that up to the people, and he knows that well. See, there has been a complete denial from TMC over the violence issue here in West Bengal. Well, starting from the day of the nomination, he says it was so peaceful, nothing went wrong. Although we saw the hurling of bombs and everything, which was visible on the media. But hurling of bombs, some gunshots, few people dying is a casual affair for them. They don't care about it. So from the day of nomination to the day of voting, to the day of deployment of the CAPF, to the day of counting, and the current situation where the post-poll violence is visible on the ground, there is a visible defiance from the TMC, and the court held the State Election Commission responsible for the same today. In the order of the Honorable High Court, they said that the State Election Commission is responsible for whatever has happened because there has been complete non-compliance of the order by them. They did not comply to the order of the High Court. Even today, the Honorable High Court said that they made the central forces, the CAPF people, sit in the barracks instead of deploying them, or instead of giving the list of the sensitive places where they could go. They did not even give them transportation. All this was said just a few hours back, although I am part of the petition. So I am being able to guide you more on that. Thereafter, it has been said by the Honorable Court today that from tomorrow itself, all the central forces which have been stopped for another 10 days in West Bengal, they will be, deployed in areas which are violence-prone areas, and they know it very well. The biggest violence-prone area, to your shock, if I say, it is Diamond Harbour, which is the constituency of Abhishek Banerjee, the nephew of Mamata Banerjee. In that area, the number of cases of violence which have occurred from starting from nomination up till today and are continuing, there is no end to it. They say that they will make it a diamond model. So these are the diamond models of TMC.
Priyanka, it's still restricting to politics. So I'm afraid I'm going back to the same question that I asked you. And in fact, how I ended my piece when I started this broadcast is whether this entire politicking that is happening, this sparring that's happening between the BJP and the TMC, which is costing the electorate what they duly should have been given. And life should not have been lost because of this. I mean, it's okay to go ahead and probably, go ahead and target TMC. But the important aspect is that TMC has won a landslide victory there.
It is an insult.
It's your word against the TMC.
And in between,
it's your word against the TMC. You are accusing TMC. TMC is doing
fighting
otherwise.
For the rights of people. And TMC is here killing the people.
And who will stand judge?
There's a lot of difference. Both are on different
who will
stands.
stand judge?
So that's what I'm saying, man. Don't compare us with TMC at all over here.
TMC.
They are the people who are responsible for the death of people in West Bengal.
And they are claiming
even now
it's
it is happening. And you see, in the coming days, more will happen.
No, I want to put a small note.
Yes.
That where is people and BJP connectivity? BJP was more busy in either High Court or Raj Bhavan. They never thought that it is required to go to people. Neither they have any version what to say. That we
well, I'll give you certain data, Mr. Majumdar.
Bengal.
I will give you certain data, Mr. Majumdar.
No.
2018, before you joined TMC, see what has happened to TMC after
don't speak over one another. One second, Mr. Majumdar, one second. Let her make a point. Yes,
allow me to just give the data.
Yeah.
After people like Mr. Majumdar went to TMC, what has happened in 2018? 8,000 seats have gone down to 6,400. 38 seats have gone down to 35. So this is what has happened to TMC. And now if you look at BJP got 5,000 and now it is around 10,000. So there is, people are coming with BJP and they are getting removed from TMC. And this
Priyanka,
is also no election,
let's take your
no
word
result.
for it. Let's
Everyone
take your
has
word for
witnessed.
it.
Look at the
As a
pictures
member
which are there on
of
your screen.
the Bharatiya
People
Janata
pissing on
Party,
ballot
Priyanka,
boxes.
can
This
I
is
ask
an
my
election.
question? Priyanka, I'd like to understand. Let's talk about the solution now, because we have seen this violence unabated that's been played out and is still playing out of West Bengal. As a
The
principal
solution
opposition
is to
party,
remove the
what
police
do you...
administration from here, and the
But the
administration
people
should
have
go
voted.
to the
The people
central
have
government.
voted for the TMC. The people have voted, and the landslide numbers really speak for themselves. What do you have
No,
to
they
say
have
to
not
that?
voted, ma'am. Please, I would like to correct you on that. People have not voted here. We have all seen on screens what has happened. Yesterday in the
99%
counting areas, we have seen what
voted.
has happened. So, no. This is a wrong statement. People have not voted. People have not
BJP
voted.
has not even come a close second. It's a distant second
What
that
do
we're
you mean
talking
by close,
about.
ma'am? After
I'm
50
just
people
talking
killed.
numbers. I'm just talking numbers.
After 50 people killed in this violence, what do you expect? Sitting here on media and talking is a different part, ma'am. They're
Just
sitting in the
one
Gram
point.
Panchayat where the police station is a distance of 5 kilometers from the places of their houses.
Answer the question that I
How
asked
they are
you
being
first,
tortured, how
Priyanka.
women are being raped here.
Priyanka, the accusation that the TMC is leveling at the BJP is that it's all stage managed. Who is going to counter that? That's why I'm saying it's your word against the TMC. I'd like to understand this fact-finding team that's been sent by the BJP. Why has it suddenly been done? Why, after an election loss that has been announced, why suddenly
there
a
has to be a
fact-finding team?
fact-finding. Although Mr. Majumdar disrespected Ravi Shankar Prasad ji, and once upon a time he used to, wait for his appointments. So we all know that. See, he's an ex-law minister. He understands what is the ground reality. That is why he is going and witnessing the situation, and the entire report will go to Delhi.
Oh my God, Priyanka.
There's no point going personal. All right.
Oh, Mr. Majumdar.
Okay, let me bring in Chandan Chaudhary now. Priyanka and Mr. Majumdar, I'd request you to let the third speaker on this broadcast also get his say. Mr. Chaudhary, what you see being played out, and also this war of words, this sparring between the BJP and the TMC, where does the Bengal Congress stand in all this?
Good evening, but
Good
I
evening.
don't know whether it's a real meaning of the good evening right this moment. Even, it's living in Bengal, just the atmosphere is too charged and too violent all around. And here I can tell you, just basically if you go and see the election, then you find the election by itself. But if you go and check the first, if you are going to analyze the first, then where you are going to discuss and what you are going to discuss, that's the great question. And I tell you here, that if somebody in the race of 400 meters already covered by physical movement, the physical violence, just by 100 meters to run, and then the coffer is full, and that is what is happening here. So if you check in the numbers, that Trinamool Congress has bagged here in Bengal, I must tell you one thing here, that if the election taken place, then the thing would have looked otherwise. But the question is not that. You were giving the example, as Mr. Majumdar was explaining something different. And Priyanka ji, definitely, she belongs to the opposition camp as we belong to. But the thing is, the perspective that you get to check must be honestly checked. And onto this ground, you can understand that an election of a panchayat level, and that is what is the local governance. The local governance where the numbers of, the killing being 47 today, the bloodshed, blood spattering, and such a kind of chaos psychosis around. And that proves what Bengal is. The perception of the election of a particular state, it's shameful. I must tell you that. And if I just give the answer of your question, that where Bengal stands, I must tell you here, Bengal Congress stands for democracy. And that is where, we supported all the opposition rise against the Trinamool Congress, the kind of violence that they have meted out here. And then finally, the governor has to really, run from post to pillar, I tell you. I'll just tell you this. Why? Then the constitutional chief, he had some opinions rather, but ultimately he was not helped. We expected this fact-finding mission which has come from Delhi today, led by Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, Honorable Ravi Shankar Prasad ji. But the question is, that is what's sent by a particular political party. What does the particular action, by the Home Ministry, where the governor is giving the anticipatory report. The governor is giving the certain, the condition or the atmosphere or the environment of Bengal violence. And he ran, really, I tell you here. But the question is that did it
Yeah, I asked the same question, but it's been left unanswered by a member of the BJP. I would put that again to Priyanka, but Mr. Majumdar, you talk about opposition unity elsewhere in India, but when it is about your own state, there is a different kind of opposition unity, at least on this issue of poll violence that we are seeing here. The BJP and the Congress are united in accusing the TMC of violence unabated in West Bengal. How do you see yourself cornered and yet responding to these allegations, saying that it's the other way around?
No, this is not, we are not cornered. Just I will take for 1 second your attention to the 2021 assembly election. There, while Trinamool Congress was fighting BJP with the headed by Prime Minister said Agla baar 200 par, and along with the Congress and CPM, all along with were fighting only Trinamool Congress. At the end, Trinamool Congress, and it was conducted by National Election Commission, 8 phases election under central forces, everything. And Trinamool Congress 200 par karke dikha diya, that agla baar 200 par. And what BJP said, after that great defeat, that's it. From 3 MLAs, we have come to 77 MLAs. That is our win. And today, same logic given by Priyanka. They don't have organization. They don't have people connectivity. They are disseminated.
Okay, got your point. Mr. Majumdar, Chandan, your word.
Now look
All right,
at the
Chandan,
arrogance
please go
of
ahead.
Mr. Majumdar. After
Once again,
50
Priyanka,
people
I'll come to
almost kill in
you.
an
I'll come to you.
election,
Let
he's
Chandan
having
make
no
a point.
empathy.
Let Chandan make his point. Yes, Chandan.
Yeah. This is a very shameful statement. I must tell you here that does TMC won the election of 2021, and that does not give them the license to kill the people, to kill the atmosphere of the democracy. It does not give them the license as to harass the opposition parties, and moreover harass the general people in masse. This is where the character of Trinamool Congress. How could you expect the democracy is safe?
Who
The
stopped
democracy is
BJP
into a-
from
Okay. Mr. Majumdar, Mr. Majumdar, allow me to come in here. Allow me to come in. Mr. Majumdar, once again. Chandan, all right, I got your point. Chandan, I got your point. Let me come in here.
No.
1 second. Mr. Majumdar, let me ask my question.
yes.
Mr. Majumdar,
Yes.
I want to understand that there was a verdict that came out of the Calcutta High Court of deployment of central forces. If at all you were looking at a smooth sailing as far as this electoral process is concerned, then why go ahead and bar it? Why was there a counter plea before the High Court against that by not just the state government but also the State Election Commission? So the accusation that is coming in from the opposition, from the various sectors, that the state government and the State Election Commission is working in cahoots to actually get this entire verdict of the Panchayat polls in TMC's favor, how would you choose to diss that argument?
No, Election Commission must have thought that 2018 election they have conducted without central forces, and they will conduct election with the local police and police from other states. That may be their design.
No, but
see,
when the court intervened,
Coming.
Yes.
I'm coming.
Yes.
Just you see, then court reaffirmed that there will be central forces. Fine. 842 or 844 companies of central forces were supposed to come. State Election Commission designed the whole election according to that forces available. And what the Central Union Minister did, that till the previous evening of the election day, they have sent only 50% of that. And that too, court order a BSF commandant to look after the deployment. He later on saying, I have not received the sensitive booth list which is available in court on the public forum, because the Election Commission was asked to provide the sensitive booth list to the court itself. And later on the commandant said, I did not get. And there was no sign. This is a part of conspiracy that Central Force will not go. BJP goons will kill Trinamool activists under that thing. This was a great conspiracy done, and Central Union Home Minister was part and parcel of this thing. Can you explain that why Central Union Minister, Union Home Minister could not send the central force in time, and in time they could be deployed? That is the
Priyanka
responsibility
Tibrewal,
of
please
these
respond.
people.
I already
not
gave an answer
anyone,
to this.
not
I've already
state.
given
Yes.
an answer to this. See, by screaming loudly, your lie will not turn out into truth.
Yeah,
The
please make your
court
point.
itself
Priyanka,
has
make your
pulled
point. We
today
don't have
the
time on
State
the
Election
broadcast.
Commission and has said
Mr.
that when
Majumdar.
the central forces came, you did not deploy them. Now they said that the BSF commandant asked them for sensitive booth leads, but it was not provided to them. So today, what did the Honorable High Court say? That their deployment now will be done by the BSF commandant and nobody from the state will be consulted. Then the state of West Bengal stood up and said that no, please allow our chief secretary and people to tell them the areas. Why, if you are ready to tell them the areas today, why didn't you tell them the areas when the election was being conducted?
So
So
he's
this is
saying the list
simply
was
that
already
they
with the
didn't
court.
want that the
He's saying the list
central
was already
forces
with
should
the
reach
court.
the ground. Don't laugh, Mr. Majumdar. You got a very tight slap. Your party
No,
got a very tight slap
I
today
don't know.
in the
No,
court.
no, no,
It
One
is a
second.
matter of shame.
Priyanka,
It is a matter of
I'm
shame.
giving you the last word.
So
Mr.
their
Majumdar, we got your
intention
point.
was that people should be killed, and that is exactly what
Okay,
happened.
this is going about in circles. Priyanka, all right, Mr. Majumdar, Mr. Majumdar, we got your point, sir. Thank you so much. Priyanka, I'd like to understand this one aspect. There is a reason that has been given by the TMC. In this case, he's saying that the list was already with the court. You are saying otherwise. The other aspect is that
he's lying.
the
That
other,
is what I'm saying.
one
Just
second.
lying on national
One second.
media
All right, so let
will
me
not
ask my
make a
question.
lie turn out
Let me
into
ask my question. Let me ask my
See, I
question
am
because we
telling
don't
you-
have the time.
I am
We don't have the
telling
time on the
you- I'm
broadcast.
telling
I
you, ma'am.
quickly want to understand that to what effect will this fact-finding team be able to resolve all sorts of issues that are there in the state of West Bengal, even this entire accusation, or, for example, the reasoning that you're giving of repolling, because of the numbers that we're seeing are vast. Even in the repolling, you'd not be
Ma'am,
able to make up for the numbers.
Let the people get this straight, that out of 100% booths, they said that only 7% booths are sensitive. And where has the violence taken place? We have seen all that.
Answer my
So they
fact-finding
did
question,
not provide transportation, first of all.
You
to
have
the
made that
CAPS,
point.
which has been mentioned in the
Priyanka,
court
10
today.
seconds. Fact-finding. Answer the question.
Yes, the fact-finding committee, of course. Now see, what has happened in the elections in 2021, we have all seen. For a number of days, people could not go back to their houses and homes. Now, this fact-finding committee who has come down here will let the people in Delhi know that what is the ground
One
reality. So
sentence.
it was very much
I
required
want to give
that they
one
come down and
sentence.
see
All right.
what
Thank
we are
you
going
so
through,
much.
what
I'm
we are
really
facing
sorry.
through,
I'd have to
how the
wrap
police
this.
had-
Priyanka, Mr. Majumdar and Chandan, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. We hope that this conversation really leads to some place, and the violence that is continuing in the state of West Bengal, despite the announcement of the election results, stops. We'll see where does it go from here. But right